You can now store loot in the cloud using the Rust Industrial Update. Storing loot in armored bunkers is cool and all, and there's many videos about that already. But I've gone a few steps ahead. My system effectively doesn't just store loot in an armored 1x1, but it stores it in 6 at the same time. Using a timered system and interconnecting each armored 1x1 with each other, the loot is never in one place. You can push and pull loot from the system at any given time. If you build the bunkers right, it will cost 6 times 32 rockets to raid fully. And best for the last, every bunker is smart, automatically emptying itself into the other 5 bunkers when it notices it's being raided. Now I'm going to show you this system in a progressive order. For those of you that want to really figure out all the details, keep watching till the end. It took me a lot of time and effort to design a system like this because it's pretty complicated. So I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like and comment already on the video. Imagine this is a box in your main loot. We consider this the push and puller box. This is the box that allows us to push all the loot into the cloud, okay? As you can see, there's a row of high qual in here and a row of explosives. If we turn the system on, what will happen? It will split between those 2 droppers, and then it will spread the loot evenly to each one of the 6 bunkers. As you can see, each bunker starts filling up with an equal amount of explosives and high qual, okay? Let's just wait until it's done sending all the loot in. It goes pretty quick. Now the drop box is empty, which means that all our loot is now in our vending machines. And as you can see, it's spread pretty evenly, but not exactly evenly. And that doesn't matter, as long as it's spread, okay? What it will do is, using my automatic system, it will now interconnectedly push all the loot and pull all the loot from and towards every single bunker at the same time. Making it so every bunker at any given time, every 2 seconds, has a random amount of whatever your loot is. Explosives, armored, HQM, you name it. And it's completely random, okay? Now, let's say we need something from the system. We're going to do a raid. Let's say we need some explosives, right? And we need a total of 20 explosives to craft 2 rockets, okay? We turn the system the other way around and it starts pulling 20 explosives from our cloud, as you can see, and no, nothing more. Now, if you have access, if it doesn't matter, you can just push it back into the cloud. If we want all the explosives, we just turn the maximum filter off, and what you'll see is it will give us all the explosives now. Very convenient, and it goes actually pretty fast. As you can see, we almost have a row already. Now, if I turn the filter off entirely, it will take every loot, all the loot that's in our cloud, out entirely. And that is the system on its own. Now, it goes a little bit more, it goes a lot further and it is a lot cooler. So let me show you what's really cool about this system and why this cannot be rated. This base right here has 3 individual systems. We have the push and pull system, which I just showed and I will explain in a second. We have the interconnected cloud system, and then each bunker has its own smart system. It knows when it's being raided. So first of all, let me explain the bunkers. As you can see, you can open them, and you could argue, why not just make it so they're closed? Because you don't actually need them to open, right? The bunkers aren't actually to move loot in and out. The only reason that I have bunkers is so that you are able, if you place the electrical components the right way, you are able to fix the system if it breaks, okay? And that's important, and that's why there's this sleeping bag here as well. Or if you get raided and you just want to, like, reset the system, you should be able to, and that's why they're bunkers, not to push the loot in and out. Now, the reason I use vending machines is because it makes it effectively impossible to raid from the side where the bunker is. The reason that there's a turret in here is if the raiders raid from a different side, the turret will shoot at them, okay? The turret basically shoots at raiders long enough for the bunker to empty itself once it's being raided. If it didn't empty itself already. It's just a precaution, and that's only if the raiders raided from one of the backsides, which should all be honeycombed, you know? How it works is it's actually really cool. Let's say this bunker is being raided. It's able to tell the other 5 bunkers, hey, I'm being raided, and it will tell those bunkers to stop sending loot to that bunker. This bunker will empty itself and send its loot to the other 5 bunkers that aren't being raided. So effectively, that stacks up. So if 5 is being raided and it's raided, raiders didn't get anything. They're like, where's the loot? They raid 6, okay? Because maybe they think it's chained or something. 6 will then know it's being raided and push all its loot out to the remaining 4, to the remaining 3, to the remaining 2, to the last 1, okay? And if you honeycomb all the bunkers, that means that raiders will have to spend 6 times 32 rockets to get your loot, which is theoretically, on a vanilla Rust, unreasonable. let's just put it there. Now, some people might say you have some electrical components outside of the bunker. And yes, if you break those, the system will break. Once again, that's why we have the bunker, so we can fix it. Now, I was just lazy and stuff was getting really complicated. So I didn't place everything in the bunker, but you could do that if you get rid of the drop boxes, and then effectively the whole system is completely fail-proof, okay? Now allow me to explain to you each system one by one, a little bit more in detail. First of all, we have the push and pull system. You might wonder, why do you have the 2 drop boxes? That is because I have so many splitters that I need like a between station to store loot in temporarily. So first, I have this box, which has the loot. And this is basically your drop box. Any loot that you want in the cloud, you put in this box. And it will automatically send the loot out. It will spread over these 2 drop boxes through this conveyor, which I toggle on with the switch. And then it will split it over all 6 bunkers. And it doesn't take it out until I flick the switch, which blocks the toggle of this one, aka turns that one off. So this box stops emptying. And this one turns on, which means that it will put whatever loot we want in the box. Now, when we go into one of the bunkers, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated to explain because it's a little bit messy. But you have to imagine the input signal comes in right here, and it goes into a combiner first. And the reason for that is because of these 6, okay? Then it goes to a splitter and it evenly divides over the 2 vending machines. The other way around, the output goes into a combiner, both of them, and then it goes back to the core. But before it does that, it goes into a splitter. And the reason that there's a splitter in between that and there's a combiner here in between that is so that the cloud system, which I will explain next, can move and take loot from each other. Meanwhile, this system can use the same piping to pull and push loot. Sounds a little bit complicated, but that's the best way I can explain it. Then you might wonder, okay, how does the interconnected system work? And this is where stuff gets a little bit tricky, because I wanted it so that bunkers have a failsafe, so they know when it's being raided. And so I had to do it this way. So what happens is the loot, this one goes to the core where you can pull loot, but it's not being used right now as it's off. So all the loot will go into these 2 splitters, which split over 5 conveyors, aka the 5 other bunkers. This one goes to number 1, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, because 2 is this one. It's not gonna push loot to the same bunker it's already at, right? Using an AND switch, I combine a signal, and I'll explain that in a second, because that has to do with a bunker being raided. But all you gotta know is from these conveyors, it sends loot into each 5 other bunkers, and then it does that for each bunker. When it sends loot, it comes down here and it combines all back into the vending machines. Now this system gets timed every 2 seconds or whatever you want to put it on. I have it on 2 seconds. So every 2 seconds using this system, this is a branch with 20, branch with 2, branch with 2, branch with 11. All you need to know about this is one important thing. The output of this, for me, goes into a RF broadcaster. Now this broadcaster sends out a signal to each of these, which then tell these things to turn on and off. And that way, the system goes on and off and on and off and on and off, and it keeps pulling and pushing loot. You can also continuously leave it on, but I figured that if you do that, all the loot will kind of clog up in one spot, and it will just quickly rotate around all the time, which is kind of not that good. What's important about this system is that I have it set into a switch that's always on. And the reason why is because you want to be able to turn off your cloud system. And the reason why is if you're getting raided. Now, how you turn that off? I have a simple button, but that's just for debug and showcase purposes. You just have to imagine that this button goes into the switch off, which turns this switch off, which makes it so the system stops sending a signal to this RF broadcaster, okay? Now, when it turns that off, it won't turn back on. That's what I want. Because the way it works is you have to imagine, let's say you put HPHF sensors around your base. They detect an enemy player, which means most likely you're getting raided. Like, let's say you put them in your honeycomb or something smart. That means that you're being raided, and then you want the cloud system to turn off. The reason why is if raiders raid into one bunker, the loot will keep coming in if the system is on. And so they'll get all your loot by just raiding one bunker. Now, here comes the fun thing, because this is where it gets really cool. Each bunker knows when it's being raided. Again, how you detect that, you can do that multiple ways. You can do a turret when it has a target, so it shoots at someone, sends out the signal. I like to do branches on each wall in an active circuit, because if a wall gets broken, the branch gets broken, which means that the signal turns off, as you can see, and it stops sending out the signal. That's very important to realize. This signal is 105 or 1005, 1006, and each bunker has its own, and it sends out a code. And what it does is it sends out a code to each conveyor on each of the bunkers, okay? And basically it tells conveyor This is bunker number 1. This is the conveyor that sends stuff to bunker number 2. And the same thing goes here on bunker number 6. This one is the one that sends stuff to bunker number 2. And to set this up is pretty tricky. And what it does is it goes into an AND output. And since I use an active circuit, this AND output is always receiving power from that side. And it receives power when the timer sends out power. And that way there's 2. And it turns the industrial things on. And it sucks the loot out, okay? But it stops doing that when it stops receiving power from one side, aka the side where we are receiving a signal from. So this is really cool because let's just say bunker number 1 is getting raided. I just want to show you that it gets loot. And there you go. As you can see, this bunker is receiving loot, which means that it's working. So if I turn this switch off, which means something broke, aka one of the memory or the branches broke. And what you'll see is the bunker will still empty itself, but it will not receive any loot anymore. And as you can see, the bunker is now empty. And that is once again because it's getting raided, right? So it empties itself and there is no way any of the other 5 bunkers is sending loot to this bunker anymore. And it keeps going on. So let's just say number 2 is getting raided as well. Number 3 is getting raided as well. Number 4. And it keeps chaining up, right? What will eventually happen is all the loot will end up in the last bunker. In bunker number 6, as you can see. Pretty much all the loot's in here now. But that's effectively the system. And I think this is insanely broken. But I do have to say that it's also very complicated to set up. Now, I would like to challenge you to come up with your own ideas. Maybe this inspires you to make something even better or even cooler. One thing that I can really see happening is this idea applied to just 2 bunkers in a smaller base that just cycles loot from one to the other. So, I'm very happy to be able to share that with you all. And once again, thanks for watching. And I will see you all in the next video.